Hi, this is New Time on Silkway TV channel. We introduce you with the most visible news and important events that happened throughout this week in Kazakhstan and Central Asia. More details on politics, economy, social and cultural life with the opinions from the most recognizable experts of Kazakhstan and the world. I'm Nurbek Matchani and this is what you will see today. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are entering a new phase of partnership, expanding cooperation from energy to AI and culture. The president of Azerbaijan has paid a state visit to Kazakhstan. Trump threatens 155% tariffs on Chinese goods unless a fair deal with China is reached. How will Beijing respond as it shapes its next five-year plan? 35 years ago, a declaration changed a nation's destiny. From the first words of sovereignty to the birth of independence, we revisit the moments that shaped Kazakhstan's modern statehood. Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are deepening their strategic partnership, broadening cooperation beyond traditional sectors. Energy, transport and logistics, AI and digital innovation, healthcare and the culture have become key areas of the growth. During President Ilham Aliyev's state visit to Astana, the two nations signed 15 agreements, highlighting the growing scope of their bilateral relations. The intention is to boost trade to $1 billion. Our reporter, Yergari Ramazanoglu, takes a closer look at this evolving partnership.
An unusually warm autumn day in Kazakhstan's capital seemed to mirror the warmth and clarity of relations between Astana and Baku. Ilham Aliyev arrived in the capital city where he was personally welcomed by his Kazakh counterpart. After the official ceremonies in Akourda, the two leaders exchanged warm words of greeting. President Tokayev described Ilham Aliyev's state visit as a significant event for strengthening strategic partnership, while the Azerbaijani leader noted the steady growth of bilateral cooperation across all areas. At the meeting of the Supreme Interstate Council, discussions focused on cooperation in transport and logistics, digitalization, the energy sector, as well as cultural and humanitarian exchanges.
Last year, cargo transportation along Trans-Caspian route increased by 62%, reaching 4.5 million tons. The figures for this year are also encouraging, with 2% growth. Together with our foreign partners, we are working to eliminate so-called bottlenecks and to introduce a unified long-term tariff across the corridor. This will undoubtedly improve efficiency and ensure uninterrupted supply chains along the entire route. We also discussed expanding port infrastructure. Kazakhstan is building container hub in Aktau, and the creation of a new Trans-Caspian ferry system for exports is under consideration.
Контейнерный хаб в Актау. В ходе переговоров обсуждена возможность создания новой транскаспийской паромной системы для экспорта грузов.
Наши народы связывает многовековая дружба.
Our nations share centuries-old ties of friendship and brotherhood, founded on deep spiritual and cultural connections. This is a solid foundation upon which we are building our interstate relations. Over the past 3 years, we have held more than 10 mutual visits, clear evidence of how dynamic our cooperation has become.
Увидеть, насколько интенсивный характер носят наши отношения, и каждая встреча, каждое обсуждение.
Each meeting and every discussion bring tangible results. Today we heard progress reports from the ministers and discussed future plans, all of which give us confidence as every commitment made has been fulfilled. The result achieved within the framework of the Interstate Council served the interest of both our nations and our people.
В рамках межправкомиссии, в рамках Межгоссовета, все это на пользу нашим странам и народам.
Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan often refer to each other as brotherly nations, a reflection of their shared outlook on major international issues. Both leaders emphasized the importance of coordination within multilateral frameworks and reaffirmed their commitment to promoting peace, security and stability at both regional and global levels.
Как известно, президент Ильхам Гейдароглу Алиев выполнил историческую.
As is known, President Ilham Aliyev fulfilled a historic mission by signing peace declaration between Azerbaijan and Armenia in Washington with the active mediation of the US President Donald Trump. Kazakhstan has officially welcomed this important step. I'm confident that the agreements reached will strengthen mutual trust in the South Caucasus and open new opportunities for progress. Overall, the outcomes of this visit clearly demonstrate our shared readiness to further development Kazakhstan-Azerbaijan relations in the spirit of strategic partnership and alliance for the prosperity of our brotherly people.
In total, 15 cooperation agreements were signed during President Aliyev's state visit, covering energy, transport and logistics, digitalization and artificial intelligence, industrial property, healthcare, statistics, and cultural exchange. The final stop of the state visit showcased Kazakhstan's growing achievements in artificial intelligence. Presidents Tokayev and Aliyev toured the Alem-AI International Center for Artificial Intelligence, where they were presented the concept of an AI-driven government, a platform designed to analyze and manage state processes and enhance decision-making in public administration. The two leaders were also introduced to the latest developments by Kazakh tech companies that are successfully entering international markets. The visit concluded with a clear message: Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are charting a common course towards progress and technological advancement. Yergali Ramazanula, New Time.
This year marks the 20th anniversary of the Treaty on Strategic Partnership and Allied Relations between Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. Over the past 2 decades, Astana and Baku have built a strong alliance grounded in trust, economic cooperation, and shared regional priorities. From the energy and to transport to digitalization and cultural exchange, the two nations continue to strengthen their ties across multiple fronts. Our reporter Nuray Asılbek takes a closer look at how this strategic partnership is evolving today.
Throughout 2025, the leaders of Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan maintain a dynamic and consistent dialogue across various international platforms. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev and Ilham Aliyev met in the Abu Dhabi, Budapest, Kampala and Astana, discussing a wide range of issues, from ecology and green energy to regional connectivity. The economic dimension of this partnership is expanding at an unprecedented pace. Between January and August 2025, bilateral trade reached $547.6 million, more than 3 times the level of the previous year. Kazakhstan's main exports include 570,000 tons of wheat, worth $121 million, as well as oil and petroleum products valued at $38 million. Both sides have set an ambitious target to significantly increase the trade volume.
Мемлекет басшылары бұл көрсеткішті $1 миллиард ақш долларына жеткізуді көздеп отыр және
The head of state aimed to raise this figure to $1 billion. In this regard, the main goal is not only to enhance the logistical potential of the Middle Corridor, but also to strengthen trade between two countries and further diversify cooperation in various sectors, including the economy and investment.
саласында ынтымақтастықты әрмен қарай әртараптандыру деп ойлаймын.
Energy remains a cornerstone of cooperation. Last year, Kazakhstan exported nearly 1.5 million tons of oil through the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline, with both countries agreeing to increase this volume further. This road not only enhances Kazakhstan's access to global markets, but also strengthens Azerbaijan's role as a regional energy transit hub. In addition, the two sides are collaborating on the laying of a deep-water electric cable across the Caspian Sea, which will connect Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan. This project, called the Green Corridor, aims to pave the way for exporting renewable electricity to Europe, diversifying energy routes and boosting regional energy security.
Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, they are resource-rich countries. Yeah? And here again, from the platform of the United Nations recently, or during the COP conference in Baku, both Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan leaders, they have expressed the idea that it is normal that each country, first of all, relies on their natural endowments, yes, natural resources. Yeah, so that's why they are aware of advantages, yes, provided by having these natural resources, because the presence of these resources, they allow for maintaining stable and consistent trade relations with external partners. Yeah?
Alongside energy, digital transformation has emerged as another strategic vector. The Digital Silkway project, a 380-kilometer fiber optic line between Aktau and Sumgait, will connect Central Asia to Europe via the Caspian Sea, ensuring high-speed data flow and secure communications. All preparatory work have been completed. The construction is expected to begin in the next year. This initiative will not only enhance Kazakhstan's digital sovereignty, but also make the region a key transit hub for global internet traffic.
At the same time, both countries are also aware that they have to diversify their economies. Yeah? They have to diversify their connectivity situation, and also they have to keep up with technological progress of the world. Yeah? And so this awareness is, in fact, also pushing these countries to cooperate. Yeah? And so, for example, we know that Kazakhstan's efforts, yes, to establish itself as a regional leader in information technologies, digitalization, and artificial intelligence.
Rooted in mutual trust and shared ambitions, Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan have built a partnership that goes beyond traditional trade and energy ties. Their cooperation now stretches across transport, renewables, and digital infrastructure sectors that reflect the country's readiness to adapt to a rapidly changing world. By combining resources, experience, and vision, Astana and Baku are shaping a model of resilient regional cooperation. Nuray Aslabek, New Time.
Kazakhstan plays a key role in promoting a multi-vector world. This was stated by Azerbaijan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ceyhun Bayramov. He highlighted Kazakhstan's special contribution to the establishment and development of the Conference on the Interaction and Confidence-Building Measures in Asia.
Вы знаете, что, скажем, СФМДА, имеющие особое...
The SICA holds particular importance as Kazakhstan was the initiator of this format. The organization's headquarters is located in Kazakhstan, and since 2024, Azerbaijan has assumed its chairmanship. We maintain close cooperation with all member states and with Secretariat.
Членами организации. В то же время мы с секретариатом очень плотно работаем, естественно, и мы считаем, что роль Казахстана, она особая.
Kazakhstan's role is truly exceptional. It has carried much of the responsibility for advancing this organization over the decades. This year, a new headquarters was inaugurated as a gift from the government of Kazakhstan, which has significantly expanded the organization's opportunities.
Даром правительства Казахстана, организации, и сегодня, естественно, возможность тоже намного больше.
Also, Minister Bayramov emphasized that cooperation between Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan is developing not only on a bilateral level, but also within various multilateral platforms, from the Organization of Turkic States to the SICA. He noted that both countries are actively contribute to strengthening dialogue across international organizations, united by common history, culture, and shared regional vision. For more on this regional partnership, watch our special Reporter with the President by Aynur Imangali. The full episode is available on our YouTube channel. Scan the QR code to learn more right here on Silkway TV. As Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan move to strengthen their partnership, new opportunities are emerging across transport, digital connectivity, and regional cooperation. From the Trans-Caspian fiber optic project to the Middle Corridor, both nations are positioning themselves as key players in Eurasia's transformation. More on this in Yergali Ramazanol's interview with Miraz Jembayev from the Maksud Narikbayev University.
Miraz, thank you for joining me. So my first question would be, how do you see the partnership between our countries developing in the next few years?
Well, first of all, we have huge history between of our two countries, and now it's time to step forward. First, we're thinking about overall agenda of digitalization. You know that Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are working on initiative called Trans-Caspian fiber optic cable project, which is part of a broader digital Silk Road initiative of our countries. Again, we are working on connectivity. So the project of Middle Corridor will shape the reality of Eurasian connectivity and will be a key factor of development of both of the economies. That's why we have so many things to do with our Azerbaijani colleagues and brothers, and look forward to the further realization.
Well, both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are parts of the Caspian region. So how important do you think is this region in today's global energy and transport strategy? Because both Astana and Baku have been paying a lot of attention to the development of that.
True, I believe a major geopolitical shift we have in new region geopolitics actually helped both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan to rethink its own borders, to rethink its own positions on Eurasian landscape. I mean, both of our countries always position themselves as a bridge, as a linchpin of Eurasia. So to serve as this strong and reliable bridge, we need two parts of this bridge. One on the Kazakh side and second on Azerbaijani side. What is even more important, both of our countries are extremely like-minded countries. We have so many things in common in terms of our geopolitical way of thinking, in terms of overall agenda of our further development and national goals. That's why I really believe that both of the countries, thanks to the political sympathy of both of the presidents and historical backgrounds in between of our nations, are working extremely hard to reshape in reality, to make a project of middle corridor possible and strong and stable.
So another international organization that is important for both of our countries is the Organization of Turkic States. We recently saw President Tokayev visiting the summit in attending the summit in Gabala. So to what extent does cooperation within this organization shape the broader geopolitical agenda for both Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan?
Well, I believe two of our nations are thinking on OTS as a zone of where there is no any confrontation. I mean, we're working all together on very difficult things like connectivity, like energy security, cultural affairs, and so many aspects of interparliamentary affairs. If you know, President Tokayev actually initiated a level up for OTS to create this Organization of Turkic States back in 2019. That's why Turkic vector is one of the most important now multi-vector foreign policy. And same for Azerbaijan, because both of our nations understand we are part of a broader Turkic nation. And we want to create a safe space for further development, where there is no confrontation of great powers, any extra regional powers, where we are like-minded countries working all together only for peace and prosperity in a broader Turkic world.
And finally, what message does this state visit of the Azerbaijani president send to the international community about the evolving relationship between Astana and Baku?
It's already the 7th visit of President Aliyev. First as a state visit. That's why we should consider it as a very strong message, both for domestic and international audience, on the readiness of Azerbaijani leader to work with Kazakhstan.
Thank you so much for your time and for the insightful comments.
Now we turn to Washington. President of the US, Donald Trump, has cancelled his planned meeting with President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, which he had announced just a week ago. The decision came almost simultaneously with the introduction of new US sanctions targeting Russia's largest oil companies. To explain the latest developments, my colleague Nuray Asılbek joins me now. Nuray, good evening.
Good evening, Nurbek. Yes, President Trump announced on Wednesday that the upcoming summit with Vladimir Putin in Budapest has been called off. He said this during a joint press conference with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the White House.
When we canceled the meeting with President Putin, it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel like we were going to get to the place we have to get, so I canceled it. But we'll do it in the future. But next week we'll be with many of you in those locations that I told you. Then it's back to Washington.
And he made this statement shortly after the new US sanctions were announced. What does it speak about leveraging this situation?
The cancellation came almost at the same time the U.S. Treasury Department imposed sweeping sanctions on the Rosneft and Lukoil, two of Russia's largest oil producers, and dozens of their subsidiaries. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a statement that the measures were introduced due to Russia's lack of genuine commitment to a ceasefire in Ukraine. According to the official release, the sanctions freed the company's assets in the United States and banned new transactions with them. Trump himself reposted the announcement on Truth Social with the caption, "Time to stop the war and time to stop the killing."
So the White House says the reason behind the cancellation is Moscow's unwillingness to commit to peace. What about position of official Kremlin so far?
Moscow denies accusations of being unwilling to pursue peace. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, in a phone conversation with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on October 20, stated that Russia would not agree to immediate ceasefire before the start of substantive peace talks. The conversation took place just days after President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump had spoken via phone and agreed in principle to meet in Budapest. Lavrov emphasized that what matters most is not the date or location of the summit, but concrete progress on the key issues previously discussed by both sides. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov also said that preparation for the meeting required time and careful coordination, adding that no final decision on the timing has been made yet. He noted that both sides need to thoroughly align the agenda before any in-person summit can take place.
Now the main question is how close are we to real deal, establishing peace in Ukraine?
Experts believe that even if the Budapest summit had gone ahead, it was unlikely to produce any significant breakthroughs. Analysts note that Washington and Moscow remain far apart in their approaches. While President Trump insists on halting the war and moving toward peace negotiations, the Kremlin favors a more gradual process and links a potential ceasefire to broader discussions about future agreements. International commentators suggest that postponing the Budapest meeting may be a pragmatic move. In their view, it is better to wait until conditions are genuinely ripe for negotiations rather than push for a compromise that would not lead to lasting peace.
Thank you for the update. That was my colleague, Nuray Aslbek. This week, Donald Trump announced he would impose 155% tariffs on Chinese goods unless a fair trade deal is reached with Xi Jinping. While Trump emphasized that he personally wishes to maintain friendly relations with Beijing, years of one-sided economic dealings have left Washington with no choice but to take a firm action. The announcement coincides with China's plenum on its upcoming 5-year plan, a crucial moment for the world's second-largest economy. What steps will Beijing take and how it will respond to U.S. tariffs? Let's see in the next report.
The United States may soon impose record-high tariffs on Chinese imports, a move that could reshape global trade. The decision came after China's dramatic expansion of its rare earth export controls, adding 5 new elements and tighter oversight for semiconductor users as Beijing strengthened its grip over the sector.
Donald Trump is set to meet the Xi Jinping in South Korea, a visit that could define the tone of his upcoming Asian tour. In the following weeks, Trump is also expected to travel to Malaysia and Japan.
China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal. And I'm meeting with President Xi. We have a very good relationship. We're going to be meeting in South Korea in a couple of weeks. And we'll see what we can do. We have a very good relationship with China, but
Bold announcements from both sides have led to the downfall of the market. Investors and traders were blindfolded, but the U.S. Treasury Secretary and the China's Commerce Ministry reassured them, emphasizing that cooperation between their negotiating teams is ongoing. In the light of these events, China's upcoming 5th-year plan has to consider this unstable situation. This week, Red Dragon conducts a plenum where high-level authorities will determine country's blueprint. Beijing aims to boost advanced technologies, sustainable growth, and economic security, especially as new U.S. tariffs loom.
So this tariff pressure also could accelerate China's shift toward domestic innovation and supply chain resilience by production localization, maybe in friendly countries or likely-minded countries, or through regional integration. So the measures will be. There will be measures that reduce the vulnerability of Chinese industries to external trade barriers and other economic restrictions that will prompt even more state support for critical technologies and to localize their production supply chain and to gain more resilience through having their own components. Also, we are expecting that China will pursue broader economic diversification that will include expanding trade and investment partnerships within Asia, Africa, and the whole global South.
China's economy remains one of the fastest growing among major nations, expanding by roughly 5.5% over the past 4 years, with plans to sustain growth above 5% in the next 5. The government is betting on artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and the digital economy as new engines of development. But these ambitions will also reshape the lives of Chinese entrepreneurs, particularly those connected to global trade and technology.
Yeah, in China, it's like, okay, there's always the central government, they decide the direction and the people will follow the direction. So you win because you ride the wave, ride the direction. So basically, every founders, entrepreneurs in China recently we are researching the 15th five-year plan. We have to know what's the next wave. What's the next industry? So because we have to do this kind of, reorganize our structure inside my company, basically based on China's, 5-year plan. So we probably will have a green technology department maybe next year, because China, the policy said we'll double the green technology like solar panel or the wind, like double the electricity output from the solar panel and the wind turbine for the next 10 years. So China will invest a lot of capital money in this direction. So we are considering to, set up a new department to research the green technology, this sector.
The final version of Chinese new 5-year plan is expected to be approved in March 2026. As the world's second largest economy, Beijing continues to pursue its long-term vision 2035, a roadmap aimed at turning China into a moderately developed country. The priorities that will be outlined from technology and energy to industrial security will define how the country moves toward that goal. Almir Amirov, New Time.
Continuing with East Asia, Japan welcomes a new Prime Minister. Sanae Takaichi, leader of the Liberal Democratic Party, has been elected as the nation's first female head of government. She pledged to build a new strong national economy and protect the country's interests through the diplomacy and security. Takaichi received 237 votes in the lower house, defeating Constitutional Democratic Party leader Yoshihiko Noda, and later she prevailed in the upper house runoff with 125 votes. President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has sent a congratulatory message to Japan's newly elected Prime Minister. He wished her success in carrying out initiatives for the prosperity of Japan and expressed readiness to work jointly to further strengthening Kazakh-Japanese relations, advancing the strategic partnership between the two nations to a new level. Today, Kazakhstan celebrates the Republic Day, a holiday that disappeared from the public life for more than a decade, but returned to a national calendar 3 years ago. Once forgotten, this day is now being rediscovered as one of the most defining moments in the country's modern history. What exactly happened on that day 35 years ago and what meaning it has, my colleague Almira Amirov will explain.
October 25th marks the anniversary of the Declaration of State Sovereignty of the Kazakh SSR, adopted in 1919, the Supreme Soviet building in Almaty. It was a historic day. After hours of debate, the declaration was finally approved late in the evening, marking Kazakhstan's first formal step toward independence. At that time, the document proclaimed the political and legal foundation of Kazakh state as an independent entity. It introduced the key principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, equality, and the right to national self-determination. It also reaffirmed the revival of Kazakh culture and language, as well as respect for the traditions of all ethnic groups living in the Republic.
Очень большую роль в развитии общества имеют социокультурные.
Socio-cultural values play a crucial role in the development of any society. This is especially important and relevant today in our large and interconnected global world, where the competitiveness of a state plays a significant role. The fact that we're an independent, legal and democratic nation is a major positive step towards strengthening the country's progress, as well as the unity and cohesion of its people. After all, Republic Day truly symbolizes unity, consolidation of society, prosperity and well-being of our nation as a whole.
Общества и процветание, благополучие общества, социума в целом.
The declaration didn't just mark a turning point in history, it also introduced a new political concept for the time. The Kazakhstans could establish its own internal security forces, state institutions, and independent governance system, with the president recognized as a head of state and the highest executive authority. It also clearly stated that any activities threatening territorial integrity or constitutional order would be prosecuted, an early attempt to preserve unity and harmony in a multi-ethnic nation. Over the following years, these principles were enshrined in Kazakhstan's constitution and later formed the basis of the 1991 Act of Independence. Back in 2022, during the National Kurultai, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev proposed restoring Republic Day not as a duplicate of the Independence Day, but as a reminder of very first step toward it.
1990 жылы 25 қазанда
On October 25, 1990, the Declaration of State Sovereignty of Kazakhstan was adopted. It was the very first step on our nation's path toward independence. I propose to restore the status of Republic Day as a national holiday. Therefore, every year on October 25th, we should celebrate the Day of Sovereignty as one of our country's most important state holidays.
күнін еліміздің басты мерекесі ретінде атап өтуіміз керек.
Between 2009 and 2022, Republic Day disappeared from the official calendar. Many believed it had lost relevance after Independence Day was introduced in December, but after the president's initiative, Republic Day is once again recognized as a national holiday, celebrating not just the event itself, but the idea of sovereignty that gave birth to modern Kazakhstan.
Today, as people across country mark Republic Day, the holiday serves as a bridge between generations. It reminds us that Kazakhstan's independence didn't begin in December 1991, but earlier, on October 25, 1990, when the first idea of sovereignty was written down and defended. 35 years later, those same words about unity, integrity, and the right to self-determination continue to inspire its future and define the Republic. Almira Amirov, New Time.
The first ever Kazakh director is set to shoot Jackie Chan's movie. His name is Robert Kun, and he is best known for his mastery of action filmmaking and complex stunt coordinations in different movies. Now his filmography will include the fourth Armor of God film. This franchise began nearly 4 decades ago, with its most recent installment released in 2012. Now the legendary saga is getting a new chapter led by Robert Kun. Silkway had a unique opportunity to speak with him. He shared his thoughts about the upcoming shootings and how this movie would affect Kazakhstan's film industry and what should be done in order to attract more of such big projects. My colleague Almira Amirov gives us a sneak peek into that conversation.
And in terms of how this movie will affect, well, Of course, it's going to be a lot of attention, not only to the movie, but to the whole crew itself and to the places where it will be shot. And it is enormous responsibility because people from outside, they will have their perception the country and of the talents, and even the professionals that have nothing to do with the armor of God, they will be in some kind of a way judged by the level of the content that we'll create. So this is an enormous responsibility, and we cannot let our colleagues down. So we'll try to do our best to show Kazakhstan and our movie industry and filmmaking process in the best way possible.
To watch full interview with rising global filmmaker and learn more about his collaboration with Jackie Chan, simply scan the QR code below and visit the official YouTube channel of Silkway TV. Don't miss the full story behind one of the most exciting film projects connecting countries and nations. That's it for today. All the main news about Kazakhstan and Central Asia you can find here. More special projects about our country you can also watch on our Silkway TV channel. So stay tuned and see you next week.